It's the Jack and Nick Horror Show.
We're doing another show.
I know people are going to be excited, and I think they're going to expect too much from us.
Yeah, now they're going to
we're
expect
doing
it.
this.
Yeah, they're going to expect it every week, and then when we don't, then they'll yell at us.
Revolt again. Yep.
Revolt. Yeah, kind of like before when it was. Well, we're not going into that. Excuse me, I'm drinking coffee. I hate to do that on the air, or air, whatever. Yeah, whatever. Also, I have a dog here, and it gets hot in this room, so if you hear panting, people, it's not me, it's my dog.
He says.
Or it could be me. So, Nick, today we are doing A Quiet Place. A little late in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But...
Yes, it actually came out like... Oh, no, it was this year, wasn't it? It was in winter, February or something? Yeah, so it has been a while.
Yeah. You saw it in the theater. I just saw it on Blu-ray.
Right. I've been saving my feelings. I talked about it a little bit on the show, but I didn't give it all. Today we give it all.
Today we're going to see how that pans out. And then I might share something with you guys later about something that I saw. Maybe Nick saw something or whatever. Not trying to sound like we don't care.
No. He's got something to say, and he's being vague about it. Stick around.
All right. Anyway, let's go to movie of the week, which is A Quiet Place.
Down. That's the song. It is.
I know it. I don't have to play it now.
Movie of the week with Jack and Nick.
A Quiet Place, 2018, PG-13, hour and 30, drama, horror, sci-fi, according to IMDb. It says, in a post-apocalyptic world, a family is forced to live in silence while hiding from monsters with ultra-sensitive hearing. It stars Emily Blunt, John Krasinski, Millicent Simmons, and Noah Jupe. Anyway, this was directed by John Krasinski as well. Writers are Brian Woods and Scott Beck, who also wrote some movie called Nightlight, which I haven't seen, but it looks pretty interesting. Anyway, first off, we're going to start with Nick's feelings on A Quiet Place.
Sure. So this movie, as you may or may not know, is directed by John Krasinski, who you may or may not know as Jim from The Office. If you don't know him as Jim from The Office, you've literally never heard of the guy before, because that's pretty much what he did, right? So
he's done a few other things. He did he did Leatherheads. He did 13 Hours. He did.
I have no idea what these things are.
The Big Nazi movie. He did that. He was, stuff.
Okay, so he's done some stuff. This movie came out in the window of acclaimed horror art house films, which is now from January to March every year. They have to release at least one. This year they released 2 or 3, but they have to release at least one that is going to be critically acclaimed and some sort of art house horror. And for the past couple of years, I've really liked the movies that have come out in this window, such as Get Out or It Follows. I almost forgot the name. It Follows. What other ones came out this window? The Witch. Hereditary.
Oh, no, but you meant from before.
Yeah, but Hereditary also came out in that window.
Yeah.
Annihilation is the one from this year that I really enjoyed. But this movie... all right, so like this movie.
Which
Quiet Place.
Which movie is it? Oh, A Quiet Place. I wasn't.
Yeah, you have to go like, shh. That's the plot of this movie.
You would be dead in a heartbeat in this movie.
Oh, I'd be so fucking dead. I'd be like, raw, and then dead. Yes, because the monsters would find me. I saw this in the theater, and after seeing that it was at like 93 or 95% on Rotten Tomatoes, which means good, not rotten, I I guess I had really high expectations for it, and I saw it, and it was good. It was all right. And I think by me saying it was all right is me being the most negative person on the internet about this movie, because I literally have never read anyone saying anything less than it's great. So maybe I have the lowest opinion of this movie in the world. I still enjoyed it. It's just okay. Here's my, I'll talk a little bit more about this as we go on, but I think this movie very heavily relies on its plot device of you gotta be quiet or the monsters are gonna come and get you, because it lays on it to the point that it's almost like a crutch for world building, and it made it feel really gimmicky for me. And I'll talk more about that as we go on. I don't think I'm going to spoil the movie. I don't think we're going to spoil it as we talk. And I mean, there's not a whole lot to spoil. They make noise and the monsters show up, but I was not enthralled with it. That's all I'm saying. I didn't hate it. And don't go around going, oh, New Jersey Nick, he said bad shit about this movie. I'm going to complain on the internet. Tap, 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 tap. No, I didn't say bad shit about the movie. I just said it was all right. Jack, you want to tell me I'm wrong?
No, I want the tap on the keypad.
Tap, 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 tap.
Tap, tap, tap. No, I don't want to tell you you're wrong, because you and I have different levels of enjoyment of movies. I understand.
Absolutely.
Where
at times.
At times. Well, the levels are like, you and I had somewhat discussed this, but not really. Because you said, do you love it?
Yeah,
and
I said, you love it with 4 O's?
Or did you like it? And I said, I'm somewhere in between. And then you go, well, how many O's in the love is it? So that's what I mean. Like, you were like, I got a top 10 right here, and that's it. The rest of them are, they're enjoyable or whatever, but these are my fucking movies. That's you. Me, I'm
right.
Like, here's my top 1,000 movies. And
it's true.
Here's my next of kin 500. And then,
right. No, like the other day, I said to my wife, I was like, oh, yeah, one of the movies Joe Bob does on the last drive-in is the movie Pieces. It's one of Jack's favorites. And she was like, so what? Jack has like 1 million favorites. It's not a good recommendation to say it's one of your favorites.
You know what I want to do? I just want to grab this keyboard pad and bring it over to your house and
tap it.
Tap Kelly's head with it. Anyway, so here's the deal. I really liked it. I didn't love it. I didn't like it, but I really liked it. Meaning that it's a good movie. It's just I understand where you're coming from, because that's a point we can bring up in our little discussion too. But and people say it all the time, the overrated thing. But it's not really that. I don't want to dwell on that, really. I'll just talk about this. The thing I liked about it was it's straight and to the point, and there's not really world building or character development. You develop with the characters as it moves on, but it just starts with action and continues. And you don't know when things are going to happen, which made the movie kind of tense and fun. Mm-hmm. That's what I liked about it. If I had a complaint, it's just that it's so simple that it becomes, like you said, a gimmick where it's kind of like Crocodile Dundee, like fish out of water thing. It's like, how many jokes are you going to say?
Wow. You just compared this to Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah, but how many jokes are you going to say about this guy that has a giant knife and he doesn't know what a thing to wash your ass? What is that called?
A bidet.
Bidet, yeah. Like,
that's where I learned about bidets as a child.
That's how I learned about it, too. From washing your backsides.
See, we do have a lot in common.
Right, we do. But this one is just like you said. You can't talk. You got to be quiet. And that makes for a cool theatrical experience with a group of people. Like in a sold-out theater, I didn't experience this, but I could see where somebody would get even more enjoyment out of it, because, you got the popcorn and all this other shit, and you have to be extremely quiet watching the movie, because it's mostly silent except for, score and sound effects and all that kind of stuff. But I did enjoy the characters, and I liked the development of. I'm trying to tread lightly because I don't want to spoil it, but I liked John Krasinski in it more than anybody else. Even though, yeah, he carries the movie, but he's playing it very straight. And there's a part in it where he's able to talk to his kid, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, yeah, it's kind of like a Saw movie too. If like you see like a Saw movie, you go into a Saw movie and you're like, okay, so there's going to be a bunch of shit that happens, right? Where there's going to be this, these puzzles that people have to figure it out, and these contraptions, and then they're going to get killed. And that's exactly what you expect. This one here, it's like, there's going to be monsters if they talk. Okay, that's what I expect.
Mm-hmm.
So, it delivered on its promise. It didn't say, this is a monster movie where you have to be quiet or else they will attack. And then you get the movie, and then it becomes like this family drama for an hour and 20 minutes, and then monsters show up at the last 10, and then the movie ends on like a cliffhanger. That would have been terrible. At least At least it didn't do that, and that's what I liked about it. Like, it just, right from the get-go, the very first scene is like, it gives you I don't even want to spoil the opening of this.
Right, no, I mean, it gives you the monster right away, and it lets you know the stakes of the movie.
Right.
And I mean, by doing that, like, that is one way that A Quiet Place is better than, like, so many movies, because so many movies are like, the whole don't show the monster thing. I hate it. I hate the whole don't show me the monster thing. Show me the monster, make it horrifying, and show me what it can do. And then I'll be worried about it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's my philosophy, at least. I think that everybody follows the don't show the monster thing, and it gets old.
Well, it becomes cliche.
Yeah, it's like, granted,
it'll work on some movies, but not
exactly, not all movies, because sometimes the monster is just going to look stupid if you see it the whole movie. Right. But, for instance, and I was complaining about this online the other day with somebody, I think, Mick from Ireland, one of our listeners, I hope he listens, we were talking about the Godzilla movie from 2014, where they shot it with that idea of don't show the monster. And it's like, why? We know what Godzilla looks like. We're here to see him smash things.
Right, that's a mistake. That's, and don't get me wrong, it's not a good movie, but that's why I actually enjoyed the shitty Roland Emmerich Godzilla movie. Why? Because you saw Godzilla smashing things.
Right.
And every time he stepped, your room or the theater vibrated. Like, that's what you go to see a Godzilla movie for.
I'm not condoning the Godzilla movie myself, but I'm just saying.
But that's the part of it I liked. I liked Godzilla in that Godzilla movie. The one with Kick-Ass, like you're saying, yeah. Why hide somebody named Godzilla? It's like, okay, here's Dracula, but we're not going to show him.
Right. Dracula will only be shown in the shadows for this film.
It's going to be ominous.
We want to see him, being charming and stuff. That's what Dracula does. Anyway, we're getting away from A Quiet Place by talking about Dracula and Godzilla, which this movie is not in the same genre as those monster movies necessarily.
It's kind of in the same vein as I Am Legend.
In a way. Yeah.
Or Last Man on Earth. It's kind of like that.
But also, it's very different than those movies, because this is more about the family drama, whereas those are about, like, reckless action.
It's about the family drama, but it's still, there's a lot of action.
Mm-hmm.
There's a movie I haven't seen. What's it? It Kills at Night or something?
Yeah.
Or It Comes at Night.
Right, that one. From last summer.
That's right. It Kills at Night is something I was writing, and I had to change the fucking title. Thankfully. Naturally. Because it happens to be all the time.
That ruined your title.
Yeah, it did. Anyway, so It Comes at Night, and you see the trailer, and you're like, oh my god, this is going to be so cool. And then, I haven't watched it, but everybody says exactly that. It's just a depressing, boring movie about people. And then some shit happens, but it's not explained, and it just leaves you empty-handed.
Right.
It's really sad. Yeah.
A Quiet Place. One of the things you were talking about, I think the reason this movie becomes kind of gimmicky is And I mean, it's both the strength of this movie and also the weakness of it is that they really thought of everything. Because, like, they thought about it down to the details. And, I mean, that's what makes Quiet Place stand in its own league compared to other movies like it. Because when they're walking down the streets, they walk barefoot on trails of sand that they've made, you know? Mm-hmm. They don't walk on the ground. There's just a lot of things that makes it feel like it's not a conceit that you're making as the viewer. That it's like, oh, they thought of that. Oh, they thought of this. Oh, they thought of how to make their farm have an alarm system by changing the lights from white to red when an alien attacks. You know, like there's all these little different things in there. But then because it's so detailed, your brain starts going, but wait a minute. You know, and you start doing it on every little thing over and over again. But wait a minute. But and you try and stop because you're like, I'm not going to be the fanboy guy on Twitter going, well, actually, you know, but you can't help but think about it. And it's like, how did anyone survive in this world after that happened? After the aliens that follow sound showed up? And I mean, it's like, it just like makes so little sense that you have to stop thinking about it. And I'm someone who watches pro wrestling. I suspend my disbelief really strongly at times, but I still was like, I don't know about this. And then this movie raises the stakes on all of that by making the wife, played by Emily Blunt, pregnant, which raises questions about how do you do that? Also, were you thinking straight when you did that? Also, how are you going to deliver the baby? And they kind of have a plan to deliver the baby that is insane and would probably kill the baby by like putting it in a special box that he's built and stuff, and they're going to give it oxygen. And I was watching it just like, oh my God, this would kill a baby. But, you know, I'm not going to say whether or not the baby gets born or if the people live or anything. I'm just saying. And I mean, that's in the trailer. They show him building the box and stuff. I'm not spoiling the movie by mentioning that she's pregnant. I'm just telling you, you have to be prepared to suspend your disbelief that far when you're watching this.
And don't get me wrong, this movie does leave you off on a cliffhanger. I'm sorry to say.
Oh, now that's kind of spoiling.
But it has to be said because obviously they wanted to leave it open-ended where maybe there's going to be a sequel, or maybe there's not going to be a sequel, and it's up to you to decide what happens.
Yeah, and I actually hated that ending.
Yeah.
That was the point where I was kind of like, okay, let's end this. How's it going to end? I was kind of like getting a little bit bored by it, and it's not that long. It's not even 2 hours, I don't think. I think it's only, it's 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I was kind of like just over it at that point, and I was like, all right, let's see what they do. And then the ending, I almost feel like spoiling it because I hated it. I really hated the ending. And I mean, I think the end, I don't know. It's a good thing we're watching this a few months removed from when I actually saw the movie, or we're talking about it after because like I've had time to dwell on it and go, you know, it's not that bad. But immediately after the movie, I was much more negative about it because I was just like, that ending is it's just completely out of place for what they set up for the rest of the movie. And I mean, it's really just, I don't know.
It's not all a dream, but it's like
not all a dream. But yeah, it's like they went with the alternate ending that you would see on the DVD and go, what the fuck was that? You know when there's alternate endings on the DVD and for any movie and you watch it and you're like, that ending was terrible. Thank God that they changed it.
Or maybe they didn't know how to end it, and then they go, you know what? Let's just leave it ambiguous so people can go, I bet you this happened. Or, you know, and to make people talk about it.
Right, but I think that you could have even done that better. And I mean, I guess now I'm being armchair filmmaker over here, but I really think that, like, you could have done...
Are you in a chair?
I am in a chair with arms.
That's cool. All right, go ahead, sorry.
It's wicked. So, yeah, I don't know. I just felt like it was... not even over the top, but just like the ending from another movie or from the first draft, and they should have thought about it better. Maybe there are people out there who love the ending of A Quiet Place, but you can explain to me why on Twitter at New Jersey Nick. Come at me.
The people that love the end of this would also love the end of a...
Don't! You're going to spoil it. You're going to spoil it.
I can spoil it for you after.
Yeah, come spoil it on Twitter with us. All right. So, did you know, prepare to learn,
Okay.
everybody listening and Jack, did you know that this was originally going to be a Cloverfield
movie?
Did you know that?
Yes.
I hope so.
I heard that, yeah.
And you can tell because the monsters in this movie are Cloverfield monsters.
Uh-huh.
Like they're little baby Cloverfield monsters, except without eyeballs and with big ears. And it's totally a Cloverfield movie. Like, there is no denying that this is a Cloverfield movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, like, you watch it and it's like, it's just so obviously a Cloverfield movie. And I don't know how to describe it to you if you haven't seen the other Cloverfield movies, like A Cloverfield Paradox or the other one, 10 Cloverfield Lane. It's not like the original Cloverfield whatsoever when I say that. But I'm talking about the sort of like drama with sort of claustrophobic elements and monsters that are coming at you, but you don't really understand, and they're also Cloverfield monsters. Okay, all that totally in this movie. Do you have anything to add to the Cloverfield movie?
No, I don't, because it happens a lot. The 10 Cloverfield Lane I know was not originally a Cloverfield movie, and
right.
It was purchased by them and turned into one.
Mm-hmm.
Or was it they were filming it?
And that was also the paradox element.
Yeah, they were filming it and then decided, hey, let's turn this into a Cloverfield movie.
Yeah,
Something
that
like
was
that.
10 Cloverfield Lane was done that way. But the other movie that I just said, the Cloverfield, what is it? The Cloverfield Paradox, the one on the space station. Right. It was originally a movie called The God Particle, I think.
Yeah, God Particle.
And they watched it and they were like, this isn't too good. Let's just put Cloverfield monsters in it. And it worked. It didn't really work, okay? Didn't really work. It worked enough, but it's not going on my top 5 of the year, okay? And this movie was better than that Cloverfield Paradox. And I don't think it's better than 10 Cloverfield Lane.
I think that whole thing for that movie bit them in the ass, where they said, hey, let's advertise on the Super Bowl that we're releasing this brand new Cloverfield movie tonight after the Super Bowl.
Right.
And everybody got all excited, and then they watched it and they were like, this movie's terrible. And nobody even talks about it anymore. They all talked about it the first week, but then it died out.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I thought it was a brilliant move at the time, but then it was just like...
But the problem is...
so forgettable. And I forget that it came out this year. That's how forgettable it is.
The good about doing that is a lot of times people were like surprises, because everybody likes to flip out and post on social media the OMG stuff. But that also happened to Blair Witch. When Wingard did Blair Witch, it was, we made a Blair Witch movie that they weren't calling a Blair Witch movie prior to, even though it was. And then they're like, we made a Blair Witch movie. And everybody's like, oh my God, that's amazing. And then what happened to it? It fizzled out. There was no build-up for it. It's kind of like, I don't want to talk about that kind of stuff that you say I always do, but like, imagine you meet a girl and you're hooking up.
Oh my God!
But no, she just like doffs everything and then says, "Let's fuck," and you're like, "Whoa, slow down. Let's take a little." You know, some guys are like that. But you know what I mean. It's like you just blew your wad and showed everything by like surprising us, and then the surprise element falls apart. Imagine, okay, here you go. You go to a surprise birthday party. You go to a birthday party or a party. You're going somewhere, Nick, and you walk in the room and everybody says, "Surprise, Nick!" And you're like, "Oh my God, I'm so surprised. This is amazing." What happens like an hour later? Are you still surprised? Are you still excited? No. You're having a good time with friends.
Yeah, it's not the same as having a romantic relationship, I guess.
Well, it's that thing, though, where it's like, did everything at once, and now it's like, oh, okay, now we're at the come down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what it is, the come down.
So, at any rate,
The Quiet Place,
A Quiet
Cloverfield
Place.
movie,
Yes, Cloverfield movie for sure.
Quiet Cloverfield.
And man, I don't know. I
feel
pretty
bad
much
for
said
monsters when they die.
you do.
I do. I don't know what it is. Whenever I watch these movies, if something happens to the monster, I'm like, yeah, man, that sucks.
I don't even understand. They were trying to kill the children. I mean,
know, but I'm like, fuck them, you know. But like, you know, when whenever you see a monster die, and it's just, I'm like, yeah, you just misunderstood.
Well, this movie made tons of money. Let's talk about that a little. I think it's one of the most successful horror movies of all time, right? It made 146 million in America. No, it grossed 187 million in America,
Wow.
and a worldwide total of 332 million.
Jesus.
That's a lot for a horror movie.
Yeah.
Man, that's big.
Yep.
It's kind of surprising because it's like,
Well, that's the thing. You know that they're gonna push for a sequel. It's business, you know. People
oh yeah, a
forget about
sequel's
that.
coming.
Yeah.
That's what it's the internet has said. A sequel is coming.
And people are gonna shit and say, "Oh, this movie doesn't need a sequel." And it's like, well, you're gonna get one because you all went to see it.
See, you know what sucks? I really don't want a sequel to this. I don't want
neither.
I really don't want the
But you're gonna get
expanded
one.
universe. I don't want the expanded universe of Quiet Place movies where we're up to Quiet Place 7 and they're in space,
But then-
or like
But then the Quiet
the
Place
TV
2
show.
is going to be a Cloverfield movie.
Yeah, they're just gonna
And
get
then
to
Abrams
the point.
is going to come out with, he's going to pull off the monster mask and say, it's a Cloverfield movie. And all the guys are, you know, fucking Comic-Con, oh my God, this is amazing. Pictures taken, all this kind of shit.
Right.
And
Dude, I feel like I'm not even part of this world anymore.
dude, I'm
But-
the same way.
Like,
I
you're
said it.
absolutely right. And I'm not one of these people doing it. Like, I don't understand. It's like... And I like Cloverfield movies just fine.
It's like self-checkout. You had self-check. Get this. Okay.
Oh my God.
No, get this. There's this works. Here you go. Self-checkout started a while ago, right? Because some asshole at a grocery store said, you know what? Why don't we make these customers scan and bag themselves? This way we don't have to have cashiers. We can save more money. That's brilliant, John. More cocaine, more hookers, right? Okay. So they did that, and then eventually it became a thing in Hollywood where instead of them actually advertising and paying for advertising because people don't watch TV anymore, they have to build some kind of excitement from people like yourself and I so that they can share the trailer and say, look how great this movie looks. I'm showing it to you because people like to be the first in line for everything. You know, they like to be
Okay.
the first person to see a movie and they're like, oh my God, Paranormal Activity is the scariest movie of all time. And everybody's like, do tell me about Paranormal Activity. And it's like, well, I went to see it because here's a trailer. And then people are like,
Right.
oh my God, trailers. And then trailer here, trailer. And before you know it, dude, when somebody dies now, you look at social media and it's like,
Oh my God.
it's like R.I.P., 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 R.I.P. It's like, okay, this guy died 50 times today. I get it. Same shit with trailers. Like the Godzilla trailer, I've seen 800 times.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, the new one. And I'm like, okay, there's a Godzilla movie. Fucking great. We'll see it. No, but
Right.
but we gotta dissect it. And here's a still frame of this. Here's Mothra, and this is the Mothra I always wanted. Okay, I get it. And then when the movie comes out, everybody blew their wad and they hate it anyway. So that's the deal. But that's what I'm saying. Like it starts somewhere, and it's always self checkout for me because self checkout really pisses me off. I hate it. You should get a discount on self checkout.
Okay.
No, you should. You should. if you're fucking doing somebody else's job, they should give you like $10 or $20.
But that's like saying if you went to Domino's to pick up your pizza, you should get it for cheaper because they didn't deliver.
No, if you went to Domino's and cooked the fucking pizza yourself and then boxed it and then paid for it, you should get a discount.
You'd be arrested. Yeah, you'd be in jail.
You should get a discount.
So anyway, A Quiet Place.
Quiet Place.
It's A Quiet Place. You gotta go shoosh.
It's a decent movie. Let's just call it a decent movie. It's not the best movie of the year. But
I'm actually very surprised that you're like so close to my opinion of the movie. I thought you were going to like it way more than me.
No, that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. We have different levels. Like, I really liked it. I enjoyed it. My thing anymore is like, if I sit down on my little fucking theater seat that reclines and shit, and I'm watching a movie, I want to be entertained. I don't want to be bored. And that's what the movie did. It entertained me.
Yeah. It's all right. It's an hour and a half well spent. Mm-hmm. You won't be mad about it afterwards. And it's not a terrible piece of crap like most horror movies, but it's not one you're going to take with you. It's not one that you're going to be thinking about a week or two later. It's not one you're going to come back to over and over to watch again and again. I can't imagine. It's not one you can even leave on in the background because it's nearly silent. Like you gotta be using your eyeballs on this one, right?
Here's a let me explain it to you this way too. With A Quiet Place, this actually pertains to it. Okay. The other thing I'm going to talk about after this, but these two are non-horror movies that I watched after A Quiet Place because I'm like, all right, I watched A Quiet Place. That was pretty tense, and I had some. I mean, you know, with the theater sound and shit, it's kind of like makes you like, ooh, this is cool. Okay. So I'm like, all right, now I gotta watch something goofy. So I watched Super Troopers 2. And I love Super Troopers. I just love Broken Lizard. Every movie they've done hasn't disappointed me. I got 30 minutes and I had to stop it. Because I was just like, I am not enjoying Super Troopers 2. What the fuck's wrong with me?
I don't know if it's just because I'm older or because you're older and we're older. But, dude, I'm more and more frequently watch a movie and get so bored with it, I have to turn it off.
Yeah, because it's because you know that you're getting older, and you're like, am I wasting valuable time watching this movie? Because you're like, shit, I'm going to die one day. Did I spend it quality time with this movie? So I watched it. Okay, so it's Super Troopers 2. I was like, okay, I'll watch it when I'm in the mood for it, because I just wasn't. So then I watched Ready Player One. Right? Mm-hmm. Read the book, thought the book was amazing, blah, 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 blah. Watched the movie, and people dogged that movie. They dogged it, said, oh my god, it's bullshit, it's all fucking retro shit, and it's 80s this and that. It was fucking good. It's a good movie, and it kept me entertained from point A to point B.
Oh yeah, no, we were just talking last night. That's probably my favorite. Like, all right, I don't feel like it lived up to the book, Ready Player One.
Nah.
But it's probably my favorite Steven Spielberg movie in like 15 years.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, if he adapted the book exactly the way the book was, it would have been like a 10-hour movie, number one. Rights issues out the ass, and you would have been bored out of your mind. Like, watching them do war games and fucking Monty Python, like, oh, we know this line from this movie.
Right. I mean, like, I understand why they changed parts of that movie so that people could watch it.
Yeah.
It's just the movie is not quite as for me as the book is, which is fine. I'm okay with that. I'm not. See, like, that's one of those things that bothers me, man. I feel like we're gonna wrap up soon, people.
Yeah,
just chill and listen to this, okay?
Don't worry. There's gonna be more.
No, I love this because this is my new thing that I like to hate on people for. Mm-hmm. You have to know what you are the audience for. And I feel like it's just something that comes with like being more mature. You kind of get over your fanboyism and you look at stuff and it's like, well, I could be mad about this, but maybe this also isn't my thing, so I don't have to worry about it, okay? And I'll give you some examples. First off, you got stuff like the She-Ra remake, where I don't know if you saw this, but there's a She-Ra cartoon coming out on Netflix, and fanboys were up in arms about it because it looks too masculine. That the She-Ra doesn't have boobs, and she's not some sort of sexy Boris. Who's that guy who did all the fantasy? Who?
He-Man?
No. You know the fantasy artwork of the 80s where it was all like
yeah, I know who you're talking
bodybuilders and
about.
shit. You know what I'm talking about. It's some Boris. Let's call him Boris Vorloff. I don't know his name.
It's drawing a blank, and he's always his daughter's always selling his art at Monster Mania, right?
Right, but that's that is that's what He-Man and She-Ra were like based on at that time.
Right.
And now it's not. And like grown men were on the internet complaining about it. And it's like, are you gonna fucking watch She-Ra? No, they're making this thing for fucking kids, you know?
It doesn't matter.
Right. Dude, it's just like, okay, the Ninja Turtles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every couple of years they come out with a reboot of the cartoon for Nickelodeon, a new version of the Ninja Turtles.
Mm-hmm.
Just like they've done forever with Batman since they did Batman the animated series, then they did the Batman and Brave and the Bold. You know, they had all these different ones, but we didn't have Twitter at the time. So we didn't have people like going out of their minds over it. But now we go and people are like flipping out over freaking the Ninja Turtles every time that there's a new Ninja Turtle. And it's like, dude, are you the 9-year-old audience that's going to think this is cool? Or are you the old man who won't shut up?
Right.
I'll give you one more example. Teen Titans and Teen Titans Go. Teen Titans was a cartoon. This is after your time. Because it's after my time, too. I was too old for it. You know, Teen Titans, they had the cartoon with, like, Robin and Cyborg and all these other DC characters. And then they moved on from that, and they made now Teen Titans Go, and it's like goofier, they're kid designed characters, and it's more like a Cartoon Network show. In fact, I think it's on the Cartoon Network, and people like hate this show, and there's been like backlash against it for years since it came on. My 5-year-old loves it, and it's how he's going to get into comic characters, because now he knows who Robin is. He wants to go see the movie. You know, this is for them. It's for them.
You know, remember that movie Mother's Day?
Yes.
Okay. And this ties in.
The remake of the movie.
No, the original. The original. The
1980.
Truman one, yeah. The one
Right.
that's Kaufman's brother or whoever. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what that movie was really about, and I didn't think about it because the thing is with Mother's Day, I don't have a huge past with it. I saw it when I rented it on video cassette in the 80s, and then I watched it for that previous show that we did, where I was like, I enjoyed it more than everybody else, but I didn't think about the movie too much. So there's a special feature on the Blu-ray with Eli Roth talking about his love of Mother's Day. And the movie, if you ever get a chance to watch it again with this in mind, and it actually makes it a better movie. The bad guys in the movie with the mother, if you look at their house, pop culture has fucked them up mentally. And everything around the house, all the graffiti on the house and all that stuff, is all the stuff that they love. The TV shows, the cereal, you name it. It's all on the walls. And it's what they've become because they're so in love with watching television. And what they're saying is that it's kind of like the line in Fight Club where it says, the things you own start to own you.
Yeah.
It's like the movies and stuff that you love start to own you and you become it. And that's what Mother's Day is about. And I'm like, well, that's fucking cool. If you listen to Eli Roth talk about it, it really makes the movie that much more enjoyable. And I watched it with that mindset, and I absolutely love the movie now. But like, even if it's bullshit, it's not. But if it were, I'd still enjoy it because you get something else out of it. But like, people hold on to these things like it means that much to them. Like, you remember the whole Ghostbusters thing and all this other shit. Like, people just need to realize that. I've even said this before, not on the show or anything. I said this in my personal life. Like, when you're dying on your deathbed, okay? And this is when, like, Blu-ray first came out and everybody's like, oh my God, the quality is so incredible. It's like, when you're dying, and somebody says to you, you're going, I love you, and then you go, man, I know I'm dying, but you know what? Goodfellas and Blu-ray was the best part of my life. Really, like, does it mean that much to you? Seriously, like, does it really matter? Like,
Dude, and just to draw it back totally to horror, that's one of the reasons why nowadays you and I both try and not watch and not do on this show your regular supernatural, ghosty, boo movies like
which I still don't mind.
No, I don't mind them. But the thing is, we know that we're not the intended audience for that anymore.
Right. No.
It's not just our age, but it's also our horror fandom. Like, we are way beyond that stage of watching it. And it's fine. Someone else is going to watch that and get their kicks. It's just like I always point at this movie as a great example of that sort of tween horror of Prom Night, the remake from 2010 or whatever. I think it's like a shit movie for someone like me. But there's going to be like a 10 or 11-year-old that watches that movie and gets into horror because of it, because it's like something that was accessible for them.
It's, you know what? Fuck it. We're not doing another segment because that's exactly what I wanted to bring up. The movie I watched, Truth or Dare.
Oh my God!
So
all right, hey.
I watched Truth or Dare.
We're done with A Quiet Place. Here's the next segment. We'll play some music. Okay, go ahead. Oh, you watched it?
I watched it, yeah. So, like I mentioned on a previous show or 2 shows ago, or I can't remember when. Wish Upon, and I really enjoyed it. I'm like, oh my God, this is really good. It felt like a Final Destination movie. So, Truth or Dare, I was told by one of my friends that, oh yeah, it's actually a good movie. I'm like, really? Okay. Well, their opinion sucks because I watched it and I'm like, this movie's not for me. And the person that told me this is in her 40s as well. And I'm like, no, like, Wish Upon you can get behind because it has a whole thing about family and separation and all that kind of, like, there's a lot to it. And it's all about, like, being in high school and, peers, etc. It's really good. That's what makes that movie more enjoyable. Truth or Dare is like 6 assholes like that go to Mexico, meet some fucking dude who goes, hey, let's go over to this mansion. Let's play Truth or Dare. And they're like, okay. And then they all play Truth or Dare. And the plot of the movie is that there's a curse. If they play the game Truth or Dare from this demon curse, then in life, they have to continue playing the game. If they don't, then they will kill themselves. So, like, if, you're just walking around and then say you and I are walking side by side, which hasn't happened in years, but we're walking side by side and then I turn to you and then my face looks like the Joker from, like, what is it, A Killing Joke, and I go, hey, Nick, Truth or Dare? And you're like, oh my God, you're so scary. Truth! And then it's like, how many times a day did you masturbate when you were 17? And then you go, I masturbated 3 or 4 times when I was 17. And everybody turns to you and they're like, oh my God, Nick, you're fucking sick. Why would you say something like that? And you're like, I have to play this game. You don't understand. And then, like, later on, I'm like, hey, Nick, Truth or Dare? Well, if I dare. And then I go, okay, well, Nick, here's what you're going to do. You're going to go over there and smack that guy right in the face. But after you do that, you got to pull his fucking arm off, too. Can you do that? And you're like, well, no. Okay. Well, jump in front of that car and kill yourself. Okay. Like, but it's the people in this movie are assholes. And that's what always bothers me about movies. Where
yes, I'm also not saying that, like, there are no bad movies.
No,
there are certainly bad movies. There are certainly bad design decisions. This is not the same as what we were just talking about. I'm just saying this for the listeners who are going to go, but now you're doing the thing you just said.
But
this is different.
Hang on. I'm getting somewhere with this.
Okay, he's going somewhere, people.
This is the plot of the movie. This is what happens in it. So the reason I'm saying this is it has, to me, I was just like, like, is it a movie I'm going to watch again? No. Did I hate it? No. Did I like it? No. Like, it's just like, It's just there. And I'm like, okay, so, and I got up, I brushed my hands off, and I said, okay, that was a movie. And that's it. Like, I didn't go, this movie sucks. I fucking hate teens. Get off my fucking lawn. I didn't say that. No, I'm just like, you know, it just wasn't good. But it wasn't terrible, but it was like, But I thought the thing you were talking about was there's going to be some young kid that watches that movie and goes, this is really cool. I'm going to check out all this other horror movies. Mm-hmm. And they're going to see something that's so much better than that. And truth it is just going to be like a stepping stone for them. And, so be it. That's fine. I mean, I liked, what was it, Unfriended? I thought that was really good. That was rated R, by the way. And,
you liked Unfriended?
Oh my gosh, yeah, it was great.
Did we talk about this on the show? I don't think we did.
No.
I think that was a couple of years ago on the old show. You didn't see the new one. You saw the first one.
No, the new one I heard is even better than the first one.
I've heard that from a lot of people, but I don't know if it's...
Yeah,
I don't know if it's something I'd want to pay to see on screen.
Well, that's the thing, yeah. I went to see it in the theater, the first one, and it's like a giant Skype screen in a theater. And I'm like, this would play a lot better at home.
Exactly.
Like going to the theater.
Yeah, no, that one is a movie that I tend to enjoy. I'm sure we've talked about it before, but I tend to enjoy that one a lot more than your average human for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. And that one was made for teens. And here we are talking about, I don't know. Maybe I'm just full of shit. You people shouldn't listen to me.
I mean, Truth or Dare it's basically, it's kind of like how Wish Upon is, though. But Wish Upon is done so much better with characters that this one is just like, imagine characters, though, where you're like, okay, so this girl has a crush on this guy who's best friends with the main girl, but the girl's best friend fucks some other dude and keeps on fucking other dudes behind this guy's back, and it's like, who cares? Like, there's drama for that. It's just like OC and shit, you can watch that. I don't, if you have it in there, make it work. But I don't know. I'm just telling you, just in case if you really want to check out Truth or Dare, you might like it. But I thought the same thing, and I was like, whatever.
Well, so I guess that's it, right, for this episode?
No, we're going to talk about A Quiet Place 2. Movie of the Week, Part 2, coming up.
All right, what would you do for A Quiet Place 2?
I'd say you can follow me on Twitter at JacobK666.
At New Jersey Nick. At Jack and Nick Show is where you can find the show if you want to be alerted when there are new episodes. Also, follow us on Facebook. Sometimes we will have questions up for you. Not this episode, but, we want you to be a part of the discussion when you can be. So follow us there. Follow us on Twitter. Do something. Do something so you can keep listening to us. Also, you can follow us on YouTube if you'd like. We post our stuff there, too, if it's more easy for you to listen to it there. We're on Stitcher. We're on iTunes. I have to figure out how to get us onto more things. If I ever have time in this life, maybe I will. Anyway, I guess that's the show.
I think so.
I would put A Quiet Place 2 in a penthouse of a big skyscraper. Like that dude and his servants lived.
I would have it placed in Twitter so everybody will shut the fuck up. I'm kidding.
Good night.
Good night. At JacobK666. Please follow me. I hardly tweet.